I've been dreaming about my perfect plus-size gothic Loli outfit since I was a teenager. But between the price and lack of size range, I've never had the opportunity to buy one.
Welcome back. Today I am going to be sorting out the last of my pumpkin spice Loli outfit before going out to my friend's costume party. Now, I am a huge stickler for finishing projects way before their deadlines. I want to finish my projects about 24 hours before they're needed so that I have one full day to work on fixing any mistakes or finishing any stretch goals. That means that I've got 6 days to finish the project and then 1 day left to do any touch-ups before I have to get ready for the party. Now that the giant storm from last week has passed, I am pretty confident that I will be able to whip up my custom printed skirt in just a couple of days, and then maybe I'll have enough time to work on some of those extras I'd been thinking about, like the boots or the purse. This is finally the last week of my chaotic costume fever dream, and honestly, I'm a little glad to be there. I'm so glad to have you here. This is Crafter of Many Kinds.
With the blouse and hat finished, my last main obstacle is going to be finishing up my skirt. It will be built using a circle skirt pattern to give it tons of volume to cover the petticoat underneath. I'd originally wanted to buy a petticoat to spare myself from making one, but most petticoats I find tend to drop below my knees. After searching around on the internet, I couldn't find anything that wouldn't be a pain in the butt to adjust, so instead, I decided to torture myself by making one of the most tedious garments. My grandma used to square dance, and she would wear these beautiful colored petticoats to go with her dancing skirts. I was so disappointed when she finally ended up giving me one, because instead of going to my knee and making a nice puff skirt like it did on her, it ended up halfway down my shins. And it was more like wearing a wedding dress that was too short for me. This time, however, it's going to be exactly the right length. Except when I mess up on the calculations and forget that the lining needs to be shorter than the mesh portions of the petticoat. Nothing that a few careful trims won't fix. Now, just to refinish the hem, and there we go. Now, on to the main event. For my skirt, I'm trying something I've never done before. I want to be able to wear this costume for a long time, and due to some medical reasons, my weight has been rapidly fluctuating up and down recently. I've added in 4 cinching points along the waistline that will allow the skirt to be tightened or loosened depending on my current size. Because this cinch waistband is my own design, I'm going to make a half-scale mock-up using some extra fabric. By dividing my measurements in half, I'm able to make a scale model of my skirt, which will allow me to spot any flaws in my pattern before I make any final cuts. There won't be time to order more fabric if I make any major mistakes, so I'm going to try to be careful and take the extra time to make sure there aren't errors in my pattern. I'm going to try and be more exact this time because I feel like despite having made a mock-up of the blouse, there were still a bunch of issues with it. However, this time at least, I'm more worried about making sure the cinches work properly than worrying too much about the fit because it's pretty hard to mess up a skirt. And there we have it, a mini pumpkin spice skirt with a working cinch waist. Now that I'm working with the larger parts of the pattern, I am finally getting excited. I have been working in active offices or food service jobs for so long that I haven't bothered to keep hardly any skirts in my wardrobe. There's just no occasion where lifting boxes or running around in the kitchen is going to be improved by being in a skirt. My aversion to skirts, though, is also in part due to my body shape again. Buying long skirts is practically impossible unless I want to put the effort into tailoring them before I can wear them, and short skirts tend not to cover my curvy backside that well, and it feels like I am always just seconds away from flashing someone. Going to clothing stores and trying on clothes is so stressful for me, and it just fills me with a lot of disappointment. Even in a plus-size friendly store, maybe 30% of the clothes will fit my body, while 10% of those will work with my height, and maybe 5% of what's left would be something that I'd actually want to wear. Clothes just stress me out so much these days, and I've been rocking the leggings and t-shirts because I know they won't hurt me. That's why I'm so happy to put so much effort into outfits like this, because when I do get fancy, I want to make sure that fit is the last thing I need to worry about. I'm so thrilled to be making myself an adjustable skirt. Honestly, not sure why I haven't bothered to make more for myself before this point. They're really easy to make and they don't take up too much fabric. So after this, I hope I find some time to make some more. Just going to finish this skirt off with more of that stupid lace so I could try to use it all up. Oh, and also to match it to the hat. It has great swoosh to it, and it is so cute that I might not mind wearing this just by itself. Here's those finished cinches with hand-pounded eyelets and orange satin ribbon. But it's still missing what every modern-day skirt needs: pockets. Can't go to a party without a comfortable place to put my giant smartphone. Because my skirt doesn't have seams on the sides, I'm gonna have to add a single welt pocket. It is one of the harder pockets to make, but when done right, they're very sharp, and you've likely seen them on vests and men's suit jackets. These pockets are so annoying to make, and I usually wind up in the breakdown corner while trying them. To try and avoid that, I force myself to watch a few tutorials ahead of time to remind myself how to properly do the technique. I struggled with how I should try and describe the making of these pockets in a way that would make sense to someone who doesn't sew, but honestly, it's actually just a bit of black magic, and every time I do it right, I am still not sure how I did it. In school, we had to make samples of certain sewing techniques, and this pocket was one of the ones that even fashion students struggled with. So rather than just trying to pepper you with a bunch of sewing jargon, I'm instead just going to let you enjoy watching me fiddle around with some fabric and let you enjoy the final result. And there we have it. Hidden pockets for both my cold hands and a giant smartphone. Just what every Loli needs. I managed to finish all of the main parts of the outfit about a day and a half before the party. I finished with enough extra time to try making the shoe covers. I thought a fuzzy boot in coffee tones would match perfectly, and I was able to find some appropriate fabric scraps. I adore these white boots, and they are really comfortable for long wears, and they have about a 3-inch heel, which puts me right up to 5 feet tall. I think I'm going to try a new technique that I've seen but never done before. The idea is that you have an ideal shape and you cover it with masking tape, then you cut off the masking tape and the pieces can be turned into perfect pattern pieces. I draw my design lines on the shoe to get the exact size, and then I cut it along the lines to create the pattern shapes. During my time in fashion, shoes is the thing I have had the hardest time with. Growing up, I got one pair of new tennis shoes and a new pair of church shoes at the beginning of the school year, and they were expected to last me for the rest of the year. I didn't really change this pattern much even when I grew up and had more money, because fancy shoes that can't match more than a couple of outfits seem like a complete waste of space and money to me. Now, this is in complete opposition to Jess's massive collection of shoes. Although I don't mind that because Jess actually has fantastic taste in shoes, unlike myself. Her giant collection of amazing platform boots is one of the things I love about her, but for me, all I want is a sturdy pair of black heels or boots, and I am set for anything. I don't care about the cost of craft supplies or design programs, but the minute that I see a pair of shoes that is over $30, like, my toes curl up in horror. When it comes to designing shoes or buying them for an outfit, my mind tends to just go blank. One of my teachers noticed that I was having this block and told me that I needed to learn to love shoes. As a designer, they were another detail we needed to pay attention to that could make or break a whole look. During the summer of 2020, I bought a bunch of books about shoe design, and I started drawing copies of current popular shoes. I did whole pages of sneakers and boots, high heels and flats, and while I can at least appreciate the work that goes into designing and making shoes, I'm not sure I'm ever going to be the kind of person who can throw down more than $50 for a pair of shoes without gagging a little bit. Now that I've got all the pieces cut, I'm going to start sewing them together. Although right out of the gate, I was reminded that I needed to switch to a rolling sewing foot to work with leather-like fabrics so that it smooths out the fabric instead of stretching it like a regular foot does. I'm really liking the pattern on these, and it almost feels like I'm making brown shoes for little Victorian children, given the design. The kind of sewing machines the shoes are made on are these super industrial ones with strong needles to punch through multiple layers of fabric, and they have this really long, thin sewing arm so you can get into all the tiny nooks on a shoe. My machine is pretty basic and doesn't seem to like fake leather all that much, so I'm just gonna do the best I can. I decided to make the toe of the shoe cover into 3 pieces to try to get the best curve out of a flat pattern piece. The toes on shoes are normally made with a heating process that I just don't have access to, so I'm hoping this patterned curve will match it well enough. Now, just to look at my lovely shoe covers and... no, not again!
So it is 2 hours before I need to start getting ready for the party. So I somehow got this crazy idea into my head to make shoe covers, and it went okay. And then when I attempted to fix okay, it went bad. It went really bad. I have just ruined the shoe covers for my outfit. So, with 2 hours to spare, I have run down to our local shopping area, and there's 3 stores here that have shoes as far as I'm aware, and I'm going to attempt to run in and find a pair of shoes that will match my costume and somehow make it back in less than an hour. So that's where I'm at. Wish me luck. Thank you.
I rolled a natural 20 on my attempt to find matching shoes because the very first store that I ran into had similar and honestly better fall boots to match my outfit. I'll toss my boot covers in the trash and pop on these beauties and finally start getting ready for the party. My pumpkin spice Loli outfit is just as fantastic as I imagined it would be. The blouse has that sweet coffee cream look I was going for, and the adorable sailor collar ended up matching it perfectly. The sleeves are so flowy and fun, and the idea of autumn leaves falling came out just right. Matched up with my orange wig and the embroidered beret, I am feeling the cutest that I have in ages. I have really made my Loli dreams come true. Jess and I made it out to the costume party, and I even got to play with one of my friend's fancy lightsabers, which actually matched my outfit. They have these adorable skeletons hanging around the house, including shower skeleton, but I got to go home with the best one of all, goth girlfriend skeleton.
I really enjoyed making these videos, and I'm going to be doing some smaller projects in the meantime before I jump into my next big project, which is going to be making an authentic Vikings outfit. Like this video and subscribe to the channel, and follow me on social media in the meantime. You could look forward to seeing me try to recreate outfits from TV and movies in plus size, as well as learning to refurbish furniture. I'm also working on a video series where I'm learning to do digital animation. I'm really looking forward to sharing my crafting journey with all of you. I'm so glad to have you here. This is Crafter of Many Kinds.